Madara Uchiha versus Sosuke Aizen. What if, instead of facing Naruto and Sasuke, six-part Madara had to defeat Transcendent Aizen? Would his six-part sage powers and ocular prowess be enough to defeat the aspiring Soul King? For this versus battle, I ask that you pay more attention to the actual information than your preferences. In other words, logic and evidence should trump favoritism. Furthermore, I will be making more Naruto content as time goes on. So whether you're a Bleach or Naruto fan, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and enjoy the video as much as possible.
Bankai, 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 Bankai.
Both Madara and Aizen are known for their incredible roles in Naruto and Bleach respectively. Madara's goal was to achieve peace by putting the world under the infinite Tsukuyomi, wherein each person in the world would dream their ideal lives, achieving a psychic fulfillment of their true selves. Whereas Aizen the Reformer had the goal to sit in heaven by becoming the Soul King and improve the world, as he was not satisfied with the current state of the Bleach universe. However, this is not a clash of ideals, it is a clash of sage power versus transcendence. To make things interesting, we'll have quite a few categories: intelligence, power, and speed. Then I'll compare their relevant abilities with these things in mind. Like many from the Uchiha clan, Madara is known for his insane battle IQ, whether it's integrating the Nine Tails into his majestic attire Susanoo, the way he integrates his innumerable techniques into his battle prowess, using wood style to restrict, absorb, and suppress, or instantaneously taking advantage of his enemies who drop their guards. Even while facing Naruto and Sasuke, Madara was quickly deducing their abilities. The range and visual prowess of Sasuke's Rinnegan, Naruto's power level, speed, and sensory prowess. And despite being manipulated by Black Zetsu, Madara's intellect was still a factor in Project Tsukunome, even going as far as to use a delayed Izanagi to return to life after acquiring Ashurama's flesh. Madara is similar to beings like Genryusai Yamamoto, whose astounding strength seems to outshine their intelligence. They hardly get to show off their intellectual prowess because their strengths are so devastating. However, despite Madara's incredible battle IQ, this category should undoubtedly go to Sosuke Aizen. Controlling events like Ichigo's main battles was merely a small part of Aizen's scheme, as while controlling Ichigo's battles, entire arcs and events of the story were taking place in Aizen's palms. In fact, at times he was overseeing 3 different dimensions: the living world, Soul Society, and Weikomundo. Beyond strategic knowledge, Aizen is also a master manipulator, trapping Orihime in a multi-layered psychic cage, manipulating Shinji, Hirako, or even the captains and lieutenants of the Soul Society many times over. Furthermore, Aizen is also a scientist who was responsible for creating Ichigo's inner hollow, essentially a makeshift Asauchi which could bear the weight of Ichigo's Mugetsu, in addition to other things. In fact, the author added that Aizen can instantaneously deduce everything about his opponent before using that knowledge against them. Intelligence overwhelmingly goes to Aizen's Sosuke.
Sage Shadow Style Thunderblast.
To trap every being in the world under the infinite Tsukuyomi, Madara had to use the Deep Forest Emergence wood style on a planetary scale. Using a trusted source to launch his battle wiki, this is overall a planetary level feat. And assuming that the time frame for the wood style encroachment was much quicker, some have used a more highball method to get this up to large planetary. And the feat of Naruto and Sasuke creating a moon can vary from small planetary to dwarf star level depending on the time frame you assume. He possessed both 6-part Senjutsu and the advanced Rinnegan, and should be able to increase his power output by using something like a 6-part Susanoo, or do the same over time by absorbing his opponent's energy. And while he doesn't possess the same dimension-busting power like Kaguya, who could be scaled even up to star level, he would still be in the same combat tier as people like Naruto and Sasuke, who can fight beings like Kaguya in various ways. Madara, claiming to be able to wipe out all things in the universe with one swing of the Susanoo's blade, would unfortunately be wildly inconsistent. He lacks the consistent canon feats or statements on this level from either himself or the Biju. Secondly, even if he hasn't destroyed a planet in person, doesn't mean that he lacks the power level of a planetary being, as there are other ways to assess energy release and make comparisons. In Bleach, to attain the power capable of ruling the world, to become the Soul King, one must step into a realm of power beyond Shinigami. This was explained in Ichigo's Irazusando training. One must surpass Soul Reapers not with a sword but by nature. Sasuke's objective was to become such a being, to become the Soul King and create a brand new world. By means of the Hogyoku, a powerful creation, Aizen achieved continuous evolutions until he reached a level beyond Shinigami. It was confirmed many times over, even by the author, that Aizen became a being who transcended both Shinigami and Hollow. Furthermore, the author introduces the Soul King as a being on the level of God, before adding that Aizen transitioned into a being of that level. And before I explain what transcendent beings are capable of, this scene does not make Aizen mountain level, essentially weaker than Ulquiorra, Grimmjow, and even Toshiro from Soul Society arc. Firstly, this is not Aizen's spirit power. In these panels, he was challenging Ichigo in physical strength, and comments on the environmental after effects of his physical strength. They physically hit their swords together, and the after effects of Ichigo's shockwave destroyed a mountain. That line of scaling would lead to Ulquiorra, who is weaker than base Aizen, being stronger than transcendent Aizen. The same line of reasoning would apply to beings like Genryusai Yamamoto, who can threaten an entire world with his presence, a Shinigami whom both Ichigo and Aizen would have transcended. Aizen's goal was to wipe out the Soul Society and the Bleach universe itself, which even in a reduced interpretation is an after effect of wiping out Soul Society. And from there, as a Soul King level being, Aizen would remake the universe according to his will. Furthermore, it has been stated that Soul King level beings have the power to reshape the universe according to their will. In other words, consistency is maintained. Furthermore, we have seen beings who are beneath the level of the Rayo, such as Zero Squad member Senjumaru, shake the realms with a slight use of her power, which based on the method used can vary from multi-solar system level up to multi-galaxy. And Yukabara, who was about to physically wipe out Ichigo and the Soul Society realm, and later would have wiped the 3 dimensions off the map, as a result destroying the universe with his massive Reiatsu, is another Soul King level entity, adding more consistency. One whom Aizen was able to keep under his hypnosis, knowing that Kyokusetsu's strength is dependent on the Reiatsu of the user. We have the consistent explanation that Rayos are beings who transcend Hollow and Shinigami, and that Aizen was such a being, with additional information that these beings have cosmic level powers, which align with Aizen's goals and wishes to destroy and reshape the universe, direct statements from the novels, feats from Soul King Yuha and Transcendent Aizen, and feats from beings who are beneath them like Senjumaru from Zero Squad. As a result, while Madara is powerful enough to be considered a planetary tier, potentially low-end star level, even beings beneath Aizen, Ichigo, and Yuha would still outscale Madara by far, with beings like Aizen wielding cosmic level powers. With abilities like Sage Art Light Fang, Madara should consistently be in the light speed to FTL ranges. This light speed to FTL scaling is consistent as Madara himself, after being slammed by Naruto, considers it logical to use light speed attacks against him. Madara should also backscale from certain speed feats performed by Naruto and Sasuke and Kaguya herself. Therefore, light speed to FTL should be consistent. For Aizen, thanks to another trusted source from my Discord server, and feel free to verify these calculations for yourself, Royal Palace is so far away that he cannot be seen with the eye, a minimum distance of 4.5 times 10 to the 6 kilometers, which would result in Yuha's Auswählen, which crossed this distance in seconds, being FTL low-balled and more consistently FTL plus. This was before Yuha became a Soul King level being, before he absorbed the Rayo, or before unleashing the Almighty. And from another being beneath the level of the Soul King, it was confirmed that Senjumaru's power did in fact travel from Royal Palace all the way across the realms to the living world. This was a casual feat of her simply releasing her Bankai. She wasn't even trying to attack anyone. So we have statements from the canon anime and from Senjumaru herself, who is supposed to be a valid source as she rivals Kisuke and Mayuri in intelligence according to Kan for Your Own World. But the knowledge that the Soul Society realm itself already has its own star systems and constellations, even if we use the entire duration of her Bankai, which is over 3 minutes, and apply that time period to the distance of a single light year, the speed feat would be MFTL plus, as in tens of thousands of times beyond the speed of light. In other words, even if you try to highball Madara's speed by using things like the Raikage statements, which I find inconsistent, as it uses a figurative term Gotoki, or somehow argue that Madara is potentially FTL plus, or highball to hundreds of times the speed of light, I only covered the distance of 1 light year, not even the distance of a single realm. Aizen is overall massively faster. So how exactly would the battle go? And this is where Madara's countless techniques come into play. Essentially, Madara's power and speed would be obsolete. In other words, it would take Madara an eternity to realize that Aizen moved or attacked, and Aizen's attack power could turn Madara to atoms in an instant, which his immortality has never been proven to be able to withstand. Beings beneath Aizen can even smash the particles that make up the soul into pieces, the equivalent to subatomic destruction. Truth-seeking orbs could negate ninjutsu and destroy the souls of the reanimated. Said soul destruction could also be viewed as ninjutsu negation, as the reanimated are bound to the world by ninjutsu. But even if you argued for a direct soul disintegration, the reason or law that binds souls in Bleach have been transcended by Aizen. Aizen, and the Hogyoku is a continuous facilitator of Aizen's own immortality and regeneration, and the orbs would be far too slow to make any contact in the first place. With a second Rinnegan, Madara was able to produce 4 Limbo clones, which cannot be sensed as they exist in an extremely distant dimension, unless one possesses 6 parts Senjutsu or 6 parts Rinnegan, and they exist almost like shadows in this world which cannot be touched, again unless you possess 6 parts power. But in Bleach, Aizen can sense things beyond even the Mugen dimension, a realm which stretches on for infinity, a completely isolated space-time. Even Ichibei Hyosube was said to be able to see all things in the Bleach universe, and in this scene in the novel was looking at a structure in the Garganta which is infinitely large, with Aizen's spirit perception in that very same novel being described as incomparable. Furthermore, even with full contact, Madara's Limbo could not harm Aizen because of the power level difference. And because the speed gap is so massive, Madara's eyes could not trace Aizen's movements. This leaves Madara with the Infinite Tsukuyomi. There are 2 versions of Infinite Tsukuyomi which Madara can employ. Firstly, he could reflect his eye off the moon. However, he would lack the speed to pull this off, and even if he got to reflect his eyes, the light from the moon would be too slow to reach Aizen. And secondly, many people don't know this, but Madara doesn't need the moon to perform Infinite Tsukuyomi. He can cast it like the usual ocular genjutsu, projecting chakra from his own eyes into the opponents. This is the very same genjutsu psychic world that is the Infinite Tsukuyomi, in which Madara dragged the consciousness of the other beings. He only required the moon to spread this genjutsu across the world, so he can still use this powerful genjutsu in a fight directly. But first, he wouldn't have time to use it on Aizen, as Aizen is much faster than him. Secondly, Sosuke can sense and evade the spiritual emissions of the yin release, as even regular Shinigami can sense the spiritual concentration inside quantum particles. Thirdly, this would require him to look at Aizen, in which case he would risk being caught in Aizen's own hypnosis. Number 4, Aizen could simply wipe out the moon, as with pure Reiatsu he was about to bring down the royal palace down to the Seirete. And this kind of power would be old news by this point, with even sulking Yuha casually lifting the Banden up to the royal palace. And lastly, even if the light or Madara's chakra hit Aizen, in Bleach, consciousness lies in the core of the soul, which means Madara's power would have to penetrate through Aizen's superior Reiatsu and the spirit power which makes up his soul in order to reach his mind. Simply put, from Madara's perspective, Aizen's power would be beyond reason. This would be an overwhelming victory for Sosuke Aizen.
ようこそ私のソウルソサエティへ。仕方ないっすね。挽回観音開き。